Hey guys, a little spontaneous live stream here today. As I finish up stuff and start new stuff, here we go. This one is I don't know how big this one. I started this last week, and you saw me putting a lot of the textures on here. Just to go over what I did. This is a redo. This is the one that had a lot of texture on it already, but I couldn't stand it. So I added stuff. So over here in this area here, I put, it's that net stuff. I get it on my potatoes. If I buy potatoes, it's a mesh, but it almost is a mesh enclosed in cellophane kind of. I don't know. Anyway, I ripped it and I stuck it on here with molding paste, light molding paste. I put some corrugated cardboard here in 3 places. I have the curvy things here is the light molding paste with the almond flour mixed in. I'm going through that pretty well now, which is nice to get that over with and done, get that out of the way. I have crackle paste that I added in like 3 different places. These are the molding paste that I put down, and then I put the, the art stones and the Matisse beads on there. Let's see what else. On this side, there is some of that netting right here. Just a clear, well, not clear, it's a white net. It's pretty cool. So anyway, I thought I would start building on this and start adding some color. So I have gathered a lot of blues here because blue is my favorite color, and I thought that I would start messing with that today. Sorry for the noise. I'm grabbing my brushes over here because I always forget to have them. Okay, so my first thought is, what am I going to do first here? I think I'm going to work on this first in here. So my question is, do I go with liquid watercolors? Do I go with ink? Do I go with acrylic? What do I do here? So I've just got a mixture out here, and I think I'm going to start with, because I love turquoise. I love it. So I think I'm going to go with that first. I'm going to wet this down. All the areas that have the little balls on them, I'll just start with that. I've been doing some really bright pieces lately, which is kind of fun. And instead of dipping into my brush into this, I'm just gonna dump it, just because. Sometimes you just gotta take a chance. See what happens. I want a bigger brush than that. I let my brush be sopping wet too. I just pulled it out of the water. Start moving that around. Letting that go where it wants to go. Now, you know me well enough to know that it won't stay just turquoise. There'll be a lot more coming in here, in this. Okay, I have this. This is a liquid watercolor. This is actually antique gold. So I think I'm gonna play with that over here, like where my my corrugated cardboard is. I haven't really used this. This is still pretty full because I just don't use it very often. I forget about it. So we shall see how that goes. And hold on just a second. I gotta get some paper towels. I forgot what I was doing now. Okay. Try to keep paper towels over by my workspace, but they end up being all over the room. Okay, so because this is kind of wet here, I'm going to work on this, and let's just see whether I like it or not. I don't really know. I've been on kind of a gold kick this week because I've been working with those doors that are going to be the closet doors in the master bedroom. And I decided that I was going to go totally bohemian with that. So I have no idea what's going to happen with that, but I'm tired of messing with the doors, okay? I messed with them for days and did nothing else. I'm just sick of the blasted doors, so it's time to work on something different. I kind of like the way that looks on there, so I'm going to go ahead and move on to my other pieces of corrugated cardboard. That come in. That go into what I'm already doing with the blue there. It's really a pretty gold. And one more. You guys are getting your fill of live streams today. Lynn Looney did one this morning on Lynn Looney Studios. She amazes me. She does flowers. It's beautiful flowers. And I have no talent whatsoever for doing anything realistic, but she does, and it's just fascinating to watch her. So I would suggest highly that if you want some pointers and tips, that you go and watch some of her videos. And I think she is also doing one tonight on Looney's Audacious September show, which I'm doing that show as well. But the artists who are participating in that show will also be posting videos in there. For instance, this one today, I will also post in Looney's, just so everybody gets an idea of what's going on with the people. And then this one, so that's 3 going on that I know of, and I'm sure there's more. Okay, so I've got gold and blue. What else should I do on this one? How about, should I get some of my color art? This is Sweet Thistle. The name appeals to me. Let's see. Kind of pull it in here and see what happens. I have no plan, which if you know me by now, you know that I rarely have a plan. I'm not a planner. I do like the way that blends with the turquoise there. A little more over here. I am thinking, just FYI, about in October, after Looney's Audacious September show is over, I am thinking about actually doing some tutorials. It would be an entire project, and it would be, you would sign up and pay for that. It would be from start to finish instead of just catching things as I'm working on it. You would actually be able to see from the very beginning to the very end exactly what I'm doing, exactly what I'm using for that particular piece. So I'm thinking about starting that in October. So hopefully by the end of the year I will have something going on there. It's a time-consuming process, especially when I haven't done it before. So these videos are kind of a dress rehearsal for that. And I'll continue doing these, of course, because I love these live streams. They're fun. So we'll see what happens with that. And I'm loving this interaction here with this Sweet Thistle and the turquoise. That's pretty delicious. Back on food again, because we know I love my food. Okay, let's see. How about, I think in this huge studio I'd have plenty of space, but I never have enough room. I think I'll put some of that down here. Just a tatty, maybe down in this corner. It's a technical term, just a tatty. See, I love that when I tore that netting, it has these little strings that tore apart when I ripped it. And I love the texture that they're bringing to this. So eventually when I get to the end of it, and the things that I do at the end will really make that texture pop. But until then, I'll just keep building up and let things go down in it, and we'll see what happens. Now, you'll notice in here, I just want to point this out. I did gesso this. You know how my gessoing goes. That's the surface of the original painting coming through. And I'm going to embrace that, as always. It just adds more depth and texture to the piece, so I'm not going to fight it. I'm just going to let it happen. There was a lot of rust in that particular piece, so I may bring, especially on this corrugated cardboard pieces, I may bring some rust into that. That will happen a lot further down the line, because I want to get all the base colors in here first before I try to do anything like that. Okay, let's see here. This is where I just kind of look at stuff, and I really, again, since I have no plan, it's like, where the heck am I going next with this? It's really wet, but I've got some areas here that, towards both ends, that do not have paint on them yet. So let's see. What shall I do? What shall I do in this corner over here? Okay, I think I'm gonna go for maybe a pinkish purple on that. This is the Daler Rowney acrylic ink. This is Purple Lake. So I'm gonna grab that, and I'm also gonna use a pink. I'm gonna grab a pink. This jasmine, and I'm going to actually put the two together on my surface. This acrylic ink is not going to reactivate. The jasmine will, but I'm mixing that jasmine with the ink, so it will not be as active. I love these colors. And you can see that it's getting a little murky here because the gesso is reactivating, and you know, it is what it is. Let's see here. How about I just use a brush to pull that in there. And I'm just dipping right into the bottle. Letting my water do the work. One of those things, why fight it? It's working for you. So, okay, that's all I want to do in that one. Let's try the other end. And let's try this area in here. And I'm sure I'm going to bring some orange or yellow into this at some point, because I love yellow or orange with this hot pink. Hey Chris, yay, you found me. I started a little earlier than what I had anticipated, but This was dry. I had it sitting outside in the heat because it's Texas. Drying the gesso on there so I could get started on it. Okay. All right, so shall I go ahead and try my favorite flame orange? Just because, maybe I'll pull a little bit of that into here. You know that nothing stays the same for long. Bring that down into here. Ooh, that's kind of yummy in there. Orange and purple, well, don't normally play well together in this situation, but I kind of like the way they interact, so I'm doing it anyway. Okay, I'm really liking that, so I'm going to go over here to the other side, the other end of it, and I'm going to go right in here, and I'm going to try some of the orange right in here. It's pretty with the gold. It's kind of this continuation of the orange is kind of moving the eye, which is nice. Okay. Down here to this end, or I'm going to add a little bit more. I'll say a little bit. I go through these Daler Rowney inks. I love them. Bring it on over here. It's getting a little murky in here, so I'm just going to use my, and see that pulled off the gesso that was on top of there? That's fine, I don't care. It's getting a little murky over here. Dab it. So, you know, right in here, what I'll probably do is I'll definitely end up going in with a soft body paint probably and cover that up, or some of my color art, the Vivids that I have left, and go from that. We'll see what happens. I like this orange on top of this yellow here. Okay, now I'm thinking, what have I got? This one area left here, right in here. So I may put just a touch, okay? Because I've got it all on this side, and there's no orange going on over here. So let's see. What shall I do? How about a little tatty here, a little tatty there. It's my favorite art term, tatty. Doesn't have to be much. Just want to have a little bit of the continuity working in there. There we go. Okay. Alrighty. So you can't see the entire piece, I don't think, from here. There you go. Maybe most of it anyway. What did Chris say? I didn't see the beginning. What is under the paint and ink? Modeling paste gesso. It looks like it's off-white. There was an existing painting underneath here, and I gessoed it. I added all my textures. Let me put it that way. I added all my textures, which included molding paste, because I put the molding paste and the this stuff in here. The almond flour in with the molding paste and mixed that. I added the little ball things in there. I used crackle paste. So there's a lot of paste on there. And then this morning, I just went over everything with gesso, just to bring it to a neutral so I could see what's going on. As I've worked through this gesso. Some of the spots of the original painting are showing through, and that's okay. Now, because I've reached the saturation point here right now, I'm going to put this piece aside, because if I work it anymore, it's going to be a total mess. Right back. Okay, and I had got another piece out, and again, this is also a redo, a reworking. This has tons of texture on here. Maria calls this the corn. This is the same thing that I showed you when I pressed the molding paste through the screen, and it gives that texture. This is the molding paste pressed through burlap. And there's just a lot of it on here. I putzed with it. Don't like where it ended up. I think the very first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add certain places, I'm going to add some of the molding paste, and I'm going to add some more of those little balls. Also, I want to show you a new product that I found. This is called Expand Paste. It's by Pentart, and I ordered it on Amazon on July 8th, and I got this in like 2 days ago. So I don't really know where it's coming from, but I love this stuff. Let me show you what it looks like. This is one of the cutouts, and this is the stuff here. You can see this texture all in here. This is it. And there's the little balls that I use, but this is that Pentart texture stuff right in here. You put it on and you let it dry, and then you zap it with the heat gun. Thanks, Chris. I had no idea. I actually tried it wet first and did it with the heat gun, and it made these big bubbles. I don't know what I did with that. Let me see if I can find that. Ah, there we go. Another cutout. I got like overexcited and I didn't read the corrections because that's just the way I am. And I zapped it with the heat gun while it was wet, and it made these big bubbles, and I just kept zapping it, and I think it's pretty cool. So it doesn't bother me that it did it. So this is how it looks wet with the heat gun, and then I just showed you how it looked dry. Anyway, it's a cool product. It's kind of like a puff paste. So you can use this on, it's in a foreign language. That's why it took so long to get here, so who knows where it's coming from. It's just like you can use it on all sorts of stuff, just not just this stuff. Okay, so I think, let's see, here's my molding paste. Kristen, she likes how I intuitively create. It's the only way I know how. It's just more fun that way. I'm just not a planner. Okay, let's see, where shall I put? This table's getting really full. I'm going to start knocking stuff on the floor here pretty soon. Okay, I'm thinking I've got these really textural things here, so perhaps I can tie that together a little bit by using some of the balls right in here, kind of send this up, the eye up that way. I don't know if I'm going to use flowers on here or not. I'm never sure what I'm going to do with this until I do it. So who knows? Okay, so here's some molding paste. It's called, well, actually this is Liquitex, so it's modeling paste. I've just gotten such in the habit of calling it molding paste. That's still what comes out of my mouth. Getting that in there. Okay, let's stop there for a moment. Okay, here's the little balls there. It's the big ones. Love this stuff. Sprinkling the large ones on first. And then I go to the medium. This is actually in a logical order here because what I'm doing is that as I go through this, it's filling in around what I've already put down. So that makes sense, right? Here's these are the little 3D balls. I'm going to wait on those. Here's some of the Matisse. I've just become so totally hooked on how it looks when I use all of these together. I have a tray, a cafeteria tray, that after this dries, then I dump it into the tray and I save that for use. Because, you know, I mean, we're artists. I mean, even when you're selling your work, materials are pricey. I mean, that's just the way it is. So get what you can out of stuff. Okay, where else should I go? There, how about some, this area in here is working. Let's see. This is not as textured in here, so maybe I'll bring some over. I like to just let stuff go where it wants to go and then deal with it. Why not? What do you got to lose? You got nothing to lose and everything to gain if it works. So go for it. Live dangerously. It's how you learn, right? I mean, as a person who is totally self-taught, completely 100% self-taught, that's all you can do. You just try it. I think though, instead of gesso, I think I'm going to get the next time at Home Depot, I think I'm going to grab a gallon of primer, Kills. And I'm going to start using that instead of the gesso so that the gesso doesn't reactivate. And in essence, that's exactly what gesso is. It's a primer for artists. It's what it is. It's what it does. And if it reactivates when I paint on top of it, that's not helping me out a whole lot. It's just actually making things a little bit harder, which is not necessarily bad. Sometimes it leads to a discovery and accidental, as Sandra Duran Wilson calls them, accidental masterpieces. Okay, I think I have dumped about as much on there as I possibly can. So, my challenge now, I'm going to have to let this dry, obviously, because I can't just wet this down because the molding paste is still wet. So I put this aside. Okay, here's some cutouts. I have, right now, I have 5 or 6 different cutouts in progress. This is what this looks like. This is that, I decided that was organza, maybe? I'm not sure, remember what it is that I put down here, actually. Zapped with the heat gun. I think it's organza. And put that down. I've got the little ball stuff going on here. And this is the back of it. What I did here, this is the netting that clementines, whatever you call those little oranges, come in, onion bags. This is cheesecloth. This is just yarn. And what I did on this, I experimented yesterday, and I'll show you in a second what I did. With the cheesecloth, I decided I do have some Powertex in. This is Powertex, the universal medium. This is the stuff that you mix, that you dunk your fabric in to make it hard. I haven't gotten into Powertex very much at all. I have enough to keep me busy without adding on something else, but I thought, as pain in the butt as it is to glue this stuff, I thought, what if I dipped my cheesecloth in the Powertex and my little tendrils of yarn here in the Powertex and put it on there and let it dry, see what happens. It worked really well for the cheesecloth. What I did was I got my cheesecloth and I just bunched it up with and squished it in with the Powertex, spread it out. That is kind of a pain in the butt though, because you're trying to spread it out and it's sticky. It's like working with glue. So it's really hard to get that spread out. But it did work. This is stiff and I think it's going to accept paint a lot better. Let me show you what the experiment was. I got a piece of plastic out. And I thought, well, okay, if it works for me to squish the Powertex into the cheesecloth, what about if I put the Powertex down on a piece of plastic and then put the cheesecloth on top of that? And it would be easier to spread the cheesecloth out. Well, that was semi-successful. It did work. I mean, it was easy. I could peel this right off the plastic. It was not an issue at all to pull that off the plastic. However, now I've got this plastic back on here and, you know, it's really textured here on the front, but the back is plastic now. So I'm not sure what's going to happen with that. I did put some of this on another cut canvas that I'm working on. So at some point we'll see, but it works and it does harden this stuff and it's very easy to attach it. I attached this when it was wet and all I did was lay it down on the canvas, and because it's a glue-like substance, it actually just adhered to the canvas. I have some pieces that are dry and I just put some molding paste down and squished them in around the outside to hold it down, and that works too. I am using, by the way, this is just the regular heavy, or it's called flexible molding paste by Golden. The texture of this is more, it's shiny, more plasticky. It's not as grainy, has a very smooth surface to it, but it's very sticky. It grabs things really well. So if I want to adhere, say, the chalcopyrite, pieces of rock to my canvas, I can put some of this down and sink these rocks into it and they're gonna stay there. If I try that with the light molding paste, it's not gonna work. So I just have these in little containers because they dry out really well. Okay, so let's see where I'm gonna go with this one. Let's do a little work on this one. I don't know. That orange. Orange is not a color that I really care for a lot, which you wouldn't know that considering I use a lot of it, but I just not into it that much. But so let's see here. I'm much more attracted to the purple going on here, but I've got an autumn gold. Well, let's play with that. See what happens, just for grins. What I've been doing on some of these cutouts, they're all stacked on this other table over here. 2 tables actually. I've just got stuff stacked, and as I was working on other stuff, I just clean off my brush on top of them. I just wipe it on there to see what happens. Okay, so this, we know I love metallics, and that's toning down that gold. This is also, since that was, I believe, a gold watercolor that I put on there, this is going to help nail that down a bit, and it tones down that orange. And I'll still come back, and I'm sure I will be adding some of the primary elements into this. You see, I kind of work back and forth between watercolors and acrylics and just see what happens. They're all water-based. Some will reactivate, some will not. This is how I have to work because it's so many layers. My work is so very many layers that I can't work on just one piece at a time. That's impossible, or I would be sitting here with the hair dryer or the heat gun 24/7 trying to get stuff dry, and it's usually much better if you just let it dry naturally. So I have, oh my God, I can't even count the number of pieces I have in progress right now in this studio. Also, because I am so ADD, I get bored easy. So because I have so many things in progress, I have more choices. If I get tired of working with one, I go grab something else. If I'm in the mood where I don't really want to art at all, sometimes I get like that. Anybody else get like that? Where you just don't want to do anything, just sit on your butt? When I get that way, which doesn't happen a whole lot, but it does happen, sometimes I just like adding texture. That's a fun thing to me. Adding texture is just as satisfying to me, if not more so, than adding the colors. And sometimes that's all I'm in the mood for. So I'll just grab a canvas and add more texture, or grab a canvas I'm going to redo and add something else to it. And sometimes I do clay. I'll sit out here. I actually have a recliner out in the studio because the cats like lap time. They don't really get lap time a whole lot since they're out here now. They get lots of pets, but not so much lap time. So I'll sit in the recliner and they will take turns snoozing on my lap, and I can watch TV and I can make clay things. See, I'm bringing this over the purple because I don't know. I'm just going to see what happens. Just going to see what happens. Okay. And I love this autumn gold. It just has a really warm feel to it. Okay, well, here's the bottom of it. Okay, maybe I'll try some. This has got crackle paste on here, so I think I'll just put some in the crackle paste. Well, not now. Wait a minute. No, I don't, because I want to put a dark color in there first because I want the dark to go in the crackle, and then I can come back with this. So let's see here. What color shall I use? I've got red orange, I've got orange, I've got red violet. Decisions. How about blue violet? First, after I find it. Put it back in the back. That's green. Where is my blue violet? Well, this is just blue, which I don't want to do that. I'm still looking down here. I have these on a shelf. Blue, green, green. For real. My blue violet has disappeared. Okay, this is a dangerous thing here. Okay, so I have this lid sitting here. Pouring some blue on there. Where'd my violet go? Here we go. Pour some violet in there. Let's see what we got. Okay, let's spray this down. Now, I will tell you that painting on this, it's going to require a soft body or some type of paint other than watercolors. Watercolors are really not, they're not going to stay on this. Okay, wow, that's really... Let's see. It's discovery time. Ooh, that's pretty. We were in Home Depot the other day and I picked up some wood. It's called underlayment or something like that. It's kind of like it's not balsa, I don't think, but something along that line. And T said she would cut that for me. So this is like a 14 by 14, and this is, if you remember, this is the size that I could not find on Amazon. I couldn't find the balsa wood that was cut 14 by 14, nor could I find 14 by 14 panels of the aqua, of any kind of the ampersand stuff. So I'm gonna make my own and just see what happens. Okay, that's really pretty. I didn't mix it really well in that lid there, so you're gonna see some purple and some blue, and sometimes they mix. Okay, so at this point, let's see, I need to add some to here. Here we're getting dangerous on this one, okay? So I've got this orange here, so that's gonna maybe do something I don't want it to do, but you know, let's give it a shot. Okay, well, it's kind of cool as it comes in here. Well, this I'm not liking, so I'm gonna dab. But I do kind of like what it's doing around here, so let's continue this. Again, this is the bottom layer, so nothing is in stone yet. Using around the outside. It's just fun, you know, adding water is it's like magic, because you don't know what's gonna, I mean, yeah, blue and yellow are gonna make green, right? So we know that's gonna happen here, but whether I wanted that to happen or not is a whole different story. And this, my gold is not dry yet, so that's kind of mixing in there. The beauty, I think, of working this way is that each of your pieces is always going to be unique, because you don't have a plan. If you don't have a plan, you don't know. I don't keep track of things, of how they react. Hey, Lynn. Thank you. I don't keep track of, I should keep track of how things react to each other, but if I worked that way, it would, for me, stifle my intuitivity. Is that even a word? Of how I work, and I don't want to change that. I like working that way. So this is really interesting in here. I'm actually not sure if I like it or not, but it's the bottom layer, so who knows. I'm gonna pull some of that off there. Just a little bit much for me. I'm gonna add some blue right in here because it looks kind of cool. Why not? I have a feeling that this piece is going to be one of those happy accidents. I really like this. The organza here that I used was not sealed with a gel medium, so it's absorbing and it's still retaining some of the texture of the organza, and I really like the way that looks. I just continually keep turning around, working. It's a little dull in there, so I'll pull it off anywhere I want. That's the beauty with the watercolors too. I can come back in and when it's dry, if I decide there's too much in one area, I can squirt it with water and dab on, or dab off, I should say. Okay, I really love the way that's working in there. Sometimes you work with the watercolors and you like it so much that I just don't put. I can go ahead and varnish that layer and keep it that way. I don't know that that's going to happen here, but I don't know that it's not going to happen. You never know. This was full when I started. That shows you how much I use water in my work. Okay. Okay, now to decide here, do I want to pull off any more in here? Yes, I want to pull some off here. I'm going to pull some off here. That's getting a little too blue there, too greenish blue. Pulling it off allows me to lay down more layers. Keeps it from getting so dark right in the beginning. Now I can also pat this off over here. These also make for great paper towels to use for other purposes. Not that I have done that because I have a whole bin full of paper towels, but someday I will. Because I know that every time I get rid of something, that's when I want it. So I'm not getting rid of anything ever again. Okay, I'm going to leave that, and actually I like that for the most part. Table. So I think that's going to be pretty cool. Let's see, what was the one that was underneath it? Oh, wasn't that one? It was this one. Well, here's another one. I could use this one underneath it. Let's just see what it looks like. Just for guns. And if I contain myself when I'm working on the bottom layer, then I have that wonderful contrast going on there. Or not. We know how I am. Okay. Here's the actual one I was working on. Welcome to my world. Can you see how chaotic it gets around here? Studio's nuts. So I'm going to dab a little bit off here. I don't want it to get that dark so soon. Okay, good. And that's really picking up on that crackle paste in there. I really like that. That's cool. And next layer, I will probably start to do something with this in here, giving those a coat here. I could paint those with a white acrylic. I won't. I'll probably do them with maybe a gold or a silver or a copper acrylic. And then I can add paint on top of that. So I'm liking that. Let's see what this looks like on top of that. Ooh, okay. There is some real potential going on here. I'm loving, oh my God, I just love the way this goes in here. And then when these little circles that I do, they're so cool when I go back at the end and I add some of the, this stuff, the metallic luster. It just picks up on that and it's wonderful. Julie says, we used to call those negative space paintings when we had kids on big pieces of paper. Yeah, there you go. That pretty much does it, doesn't it? That pretty much sums it up. Okay, so I'm going to stop there because that's like 4 or 5 things now that I've got sopping wet, and now I'm running out of space in which to put sopping wet things. So I'm just going to let that lie. Now, we'll be back here on Thursday at 2 o'clock. I'm telling you right up front, I'm sure I will have worked on these, but I will always tell you what I did so you know. Anyway, I'll see you Thursday. You guys have a great day, and thanks for tuning in today. We'll see you Thursday. Bye.